Hi everyone, this is Bentley. Now Bentley and his buddy Cookie have come in to see us because they're in need of some TLC and a bit of attention. They have been given Revolution, but as you'll notice they're still fairly hairless underneath and they're wanting to find out what else can be done. So let's take a careful look at them. Now Bentley's about 4.5 years of age. He's got some very interesting fungal taking hold here. If we have a look up at his ear, you can actually see the striations and patterns it's forming. So he's got this fungal everywhere. And if we look down underneath, you'll also notice that there's quite a lot of hairlessness with him. And with this area, he has got new hair growth coming back through. So without a doubt, they had mites. And what's happened is the Revolution they've been given has basically stopped the mites in their track and they're getting better. But the reason they've come in here is to find out what else can be done to improve their health and to see if there are any other issues. So let's take another look at Bentley around the back here. We're going to give these boys a full wash and bath and treat the fungal. You'll notice he's got a very oily gland at the back, and they were worried if this was a tumor or something else. You'll see the hair is really sort of matted and sticky. This is typical of a scent gland which is sitting here, so it's not an actual problem, but it does need a wash and a groom, which will clear all of that up for him. So poor little Bentley, you're going to feel a lot better. He does feel very warm to touch. So with Bentley, we're going to give you a bit of a once over. He does not have impaction. Now, I've shown you before, if you pick up guinea pigs and you've got your bottom finger under his bottom, you can actually sense if there's impaction there. So in a moment, I'm going to share with you his buddy Cookie, and it'll be a different situation, but you can see that certainly has no impaction there. But we will be looking up through this area because I can feel a lump right here. I can feel a little lump, so we do need to check what's going on. So let's get him bathed, feeling a bit better, and then we'll move forward. So I'm going to get him all wet. Poor little fella, he's a little bit arthritic as well, and we're discussing with his owner what we can do to improve conditions for these little guys, because as they are right now, they're certainly showing their age and they've had a rough time.
Honestly, yeah. If you're looking at getting like including certificates and other things alongside your HSV, it makes it a lot easier and
Yeah.
you're ready to do it a lot earlier.
Sounds like you didn't know.
No, I did.
You did?
Yeah, no. I completed my capital cert.
Yeah.
Well and truly about 2 years before.
Oh, right. You travel around Australia if you can, or are you just gonna do something around?
Probably not. I'm not really having a gap here. I'm more so thinking work.
Oh, right. Do you recommend it?
Honestly, yeah. If you're looking at getting like including certificates and other things alongside your HSV, it makes it a lot easier and
Yeah.
you're ready to do it a lot earlier.
Sounds like you didn't know.
No, I did.
You did?
Yeah, no. I completed my capital cert.
Yeah.
Well and truly about 2 years before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Sort of gap-like. I think that's what your mates are doing.
Hopefully,
Okay, let's have a look here. Okay, so he's got little sore feet. So they've been in a cage that's a bit dirty. Let's just have a look back here.
Business maritime training.
can get that back, and you can see how much smegma is caught. That's the little lump that I could feel before. So I'm going to get rid of that. Look at that, so stuck. Look at that. Okay, let's get that off. You can see it's so thick. When it's left like this, it can form like a little casing around the edge. Poor little fella. That's no good, is it? I feel a lot better. I don't blame him, but he hasn't been out in a while. Let's see. Let's get all of that off. Okay. So, this little fellow here is sorted. Now, what you'll notice when hair, oily substances are sitting up around the anal gland, you'll notice how red and sore looking it becomes because of the oil sitting on there. So if we had an oily clump of hair sitting there, that's what would form, what would happen. Now that's clean and clear, he can start to feel a whole lot better. I'm just going to do another little wash through here and rinse that off, just to loosen every bit of debris there. Good little fella. Right, so what I have washed them in is Malicet, which is an antifungal, and that really is going to help him feel so much better. Okay, let's get your ears done, little guy. So, tucking him up for a minute, we'll quickly go and do his ears in the same way. So I wet them in the bath so they'd soften, and you can also see this fungal line here on his nose. We'll talk about that separately, but these ears are pretty bad. Full of really strange looking fungal. It's all in lines. So that has to go. It's not good at all. No, it's a bit sore or something. What I'm going to do is just wipe this up as much as I can. So, there. Okay. Let's get this out of the way. Over here. Let's get this one. This one is not as bad in terms of that strange growth that's taken place in that ear. Some guys like he's had a cold as well. No. The poor little fellow's really been in the wars. Okay. I'll get them back to ground zero for now. While you're in there. Good boy. Let me see. Oh, working very well. Is your tooth in your mouth sore? It's okay. Yeah, he's very nervous about that. He's very nervous about being held. So, little guy, you're okay? You're alright. I'm just going to put a little bit of antifungal. Well, actually, we'll do that nose in a minute. We'll do it separately. For now, I'm just going to put him back to wrap him up, and let's have a look at number 2. This is Cookie, and Cookie again has got several problems. You can see, nails are very long and turned and overgrown. It's really hard to see little piggies like this, but they've come in for a check, and we'll see what we can do. They've they've obviously had revolution. If we look down underneath, now this is the difference in picking up a boy and seeing a problem or not seeing a problem. So my finger is underneath, but this time you'll notice a big area moving. So this little fellow has impaction, and that's how we know. So these are his testes. The impaction is well and truly behind. It's quite severe. It's a big load of material that's in there. We're going to deal with that in a minute. He also has up here a memory tumour that you can see quite well because he's fairly hairless. So he's got a tumour happening just here. And yeah, the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to get him in the water. We're going to shift that impaction and do his coat. Okay. This poor little fella, he's not real good. He's got lots of issues. So we're just going to get this on because I really want to wash through his coat with all the fungal that he's got on board. And when we have piggies like this, their coats are really brittle. So there's lots of problems. We're just trying to soak those feet because their curly nails have gathered lots. And it might just also soak that bottom where the impaction is because it's got to come out. And it's easier if it comes out in water. So that's what we're going to do. Yay, you're going to feel much better in a minute. You will, sweetie pie. That's it. We're going to make you feel better. A lot better. Okay, just holding him up. Okay, this impaction that's here. Okay, let's soften that. I'm actually just trying to move that out. You can see it's getting softer, and as it gets softer we'll be able to move that out. Now, it's better than digging at it. Poor little guy. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. Okay, it's coming out a bit more. Bits are dropping in. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, that's probably the biggest poo ever. We're just moving this back as it gets softer, sitting back in the water. Back in the water. It softens up each time, which is great. We're just doing his impaction. This is his poor impacted bottom.
Yeah, see, I saw some big balls of poo, and I was wondering if something was going on.
Yeah, it's called impaction. Here we go. And it's like the biggest amount of poop that gets stuck in. I'm just going to get that wet again because it softens the edge of the skin. And it'll drop out. No, it's a growth job to do.
It's like doing anal glands on dogs.
Well, it's not nice, but he needs to have it checked regularly. This little guy's, it can kill them. So there's like masses of, and it's a sac. It's actually not the anus. It's known as the anus sac, and it just picks up material as it gets caught there.
So
right.
is there a way to
So
avoid
just
it
about done
happening,
that,
or-
which is good. Okay. Sorry.
Is there a way to avoid that happening?
More firm food, hay in their diet is really good. But when you've got a little piggy that has suffered, you've actually got to clear that every day, really, for the next little bit. And then it's a process of, it might occur, you clear it once a day, then once every 2 days, then once every 3 days, so that slowly he can get back to normal. So it's a case of just working on that. I know, little fellow, hold on. So, look at your bottom down here. Oh no, I'm sorry. Sorry. It's a lot smaller now, which is good. Have a look at that. So that's way smaller, and the impaction is gone. So I just want to hear it as well. Make sure, because there tends to be a little bit that sort of stays, residual stuff. I don't want that. No. I want it all gone. A big pocket of yuck. So it's been building up there for a while. He needs to be regularly checked. There we go. Okay, now this, so he's got like a large area now. This is all empty, but of course it can catch more
Right.
in that area, so you need to check that daily. The thing with him is actually this little lump that's up here, so he may have a tumour there.
So I should take him to the vet?
Yeah, if that gets checked out, the vet can sort of see how serious or not it is. I know, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at your boy bits and you're looking okay. There was no lump there, so he's good. Okay, so it's just your bottom little fellow and your nails. Done the nails on the other little fellow and his ears, and we're just up to here now. So these are two little old fellas. It's all right, little guy. You're okay. So one had a really mucky area from the anal gland, and the other one had impaction. You get those nails done up.
Because they get hay every day, like they've always got hay.
Yeah, he's just probably more predisposed, and when it's not noticed, it then becomes a problem because it sits there, and any other accumulating poop, it's okay. Any other accumulating poop just sort of gets caught, and it gets bigger and bigger, and then he can't pass it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's all right. Let's do your nails. Go on. And you can even cut it with scissors to fit in there, and it will stop anything from coming in or out.
Right.
So then it's just them in the cage, it's just drying the cage, and yeah, we'll put the mite preventative on them. It's actually mite treatment, and they'll be feeling so much better. Yeah, 2 weeks from now they should start to be furred up again. Yeah. And you know, if you want me to deal with that impaction, bring him up like in a week's time. Check him each time, but in a week's time bring him up, and I'm happy to do that.
Okay.
It's really quick. I mean, more of it is about gloves, but when you pick an animal up, you can lean them towards you so you can then see what's here and see there's no big lump that's there, it's gone.
But I should take him to the vet anyway with that tumour thing?
Yeah, the little tumour here, it's tiny, but there is something
check,
It's really tiny at the moment. I think I'd wait till he got his fur a little bit better. He does have something here as well, down there, but this is sort of more of the lump.
Yeah.
But it could be benign.
Yeah.
Because it's in the mammary area, it's probably a mammary tumour.
Yeah.
They're easier to take out when they're smaller, but for him, like going through regrowing his hair, I'd let him get on top of that and get really well first. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get you on the grass. There we go. So, this little fellow, looking inside his ear now in more detail. Once we've cleaned his little ear up, these lines are actually part of the makeup of his skin, and when I look under a really powerful magnification, to me it actually looks like, and we can point out, maybe I'll use this to point out, you've got the lower areas here, like patination of the skin. So it actually looks like when you would lose like the darkness in skin, the melatonin. So to me it looks like that, with the exception of this little tiny patch right here on his inner ear. And there's some skin cells a little bit raised up just here. It's not overly sensitive. It is here where the hair seems to be coming out of some of that whitened patch. It's a little bit sensitive there. So in terms of what do you do, my first thought is that you actually would leave it alone, because if it were a difference in skin patination, and we've seen that with guinea pigs, for example, that are white but actually can have black skin under white coats. We've filmed that. It's really unusual. We do get these odd things happening, so I think it's more of a benign scenario. It's not bothering him, it's not sore, it's not something we would actively do. So we're just focusing right now on, you know, the coat, the mites, hair loss, that sort of thing, and I would say monitor for something like that. At the end of the day, the area is so tiny to even take a skin sample, and then if it came back that it was some form of strange cancer that was developing there, you know, there's no room to actually take ear canal material. So, looking at the alternative, it's not really an option. So the best thing you can do is actually just love and look after him right now. It's not bothering him, So, you know, I can do this. It's not bothering him at all. If I get really specific and touch this area, he doesn't like it. But now that the fungal part of it is cleaned up, his ear feels nice and soft, so he's good. Now up here on his nose, he's got a little nose line right here. We typically see this. It's a form of fungal, and if you think about their feet on the ground carrying fungal wiping upwards, it's probably why it tends to end up in this pattern. But we find it more commonly with guinea pigs that eat a higher array of acidic foods. So things like tomato. If he loves tomato, it tends to be a bit more acidic, doesn't it? No. So it's one of those things that it does come. We can treat this with silverzine cream. We can also treat it with Malaseb is not really effective in this area, but you know, we'll check out his teeth. We've had a brief look, but I'll just quickly check his teeth, because usually when that line's there, it's not teeth related. But anyway, we will sort that out. Let's have a quick look at those. And then he's had the full works. He's a new man, a new piggy, so to speak. Let's have a look. It's almost the same. Teeth are absolutely fine.
That's good.
Teeth are fine. So if we turn him round, you can see his little teeth are perfectly fine up here. There's no food or anything caught or trapped. So this is a unique scenario, and we know it's related to acidity in food. There are some fungals that actually thrive better in this region, which tends to be more acid based, and it's strange, but so this little guy, we wouldn't go giving any tomato to in particular. But what we find with this particular line is that it builds up a bit like a scab, and if we work too hard at removing this, it actually takes it back to the skin, and a little bit of blood loss there. So we just literally carefully wipe this area over, and we're trying to just remove what hard debris we can from here. It takes a bit of patience, but you can do it.
In terms of interactions today, this is the
There we go. If we try and remove any more of this, you'll actually see it start to bleed, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
So we've just removed all the top fungally bits off there. So it's good to go home. That's it.
Great, thank you.